Hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Yes, we are here. We are just getting started. Get yourself ready here. And today, as you know, it's 2023. Wonderful. I'm calling out here from actually Germany, not in my normal area, in Berlin. As you can see here, I'm wearing a t-shirt of AWT, ready to go and look for markets. Yes, we're here in Berlin, here in an expo, and you see the background, not the normal one, and it's all about looking for markets for our women, as you all said and shouted, we want market. But today, let's find out today, January. Yes, the year has started and we have already started quite a lot of things. So I'm so excited to have you here and get yourself ready, share. We have chats, we are on YouTube, on Facebook, we're also on AWT website itself. So and get ready because we have quite a lot in the bucket today. I just to give you a big overview of what is coming so that you get ready and what to expect as well. We have our madam here. I always tell her my AfCFTA madam who keep coming here every year to give us updates as well. Beatrice Chaytor is also here as well. And also we have a business lady also coming today. Stay tuned because she's going to talk about her products. We don't always have webinars without also marketing our members who are doing great work outside there. So we're going to get started and grab yourself, make sure you're all ready. We hope you had breakfast. Some of us is afternoon, but wherever you are, get ready because it's going to be our 2 hours. Questions, ask your questions. We have comments. I'll see them from here. If you're on YouTube, this time we have you all set. YouTube, you can also ask your questions there. You can ask them on Facebook groups. You can ask them also on your on I think we're also on Twitter. That's right. Yes, we're getting advanced here and more and more. These are new stage that we'll be using, and we've decided not to be mean. We've decided to share with these broadcast so that is this information is not only for our members, also for other people outside there. They can come and hear what we are sharing because the information we notice is a very rare, especially in the continent. And I'm Joy Zenz, the founder of African Women in Europe and Africa Women in Trade. And all of this is just supporting women in businesses wherever you are. So I'm going to start this off with a message that we always share about who actually is Africa Women in Trade and what our goals are in the future for you also to also relate what we do. And this will be coming in. I'll be presenting this as well in terms of shared information. Last year, we also shared with you a lot of this, and we are looking forward to that because it's so important to share a lot of information that is going to help us to lead us to the next level. So as soon as I am able to, I'm going to share that right here with you. Technology is always not always on my side, but let me see this time whether I'll be able to share with you some of the great work that we African women have been doing for some time, and we are very happy to really always share information. Yes, I got it now. So yeah, sit back and enjoy this. Hey, good afternoon. How are you today? Thank you for joining me. I'm Joy Zenz, the founder of African Women in Europe. Yes, African women in Europe have been doing amazing work for the past 15 years. And here we are today, 2022, December, nearly 2023. I am so honored to be here with you and sharing with you good stories and long stories. For Africa Women in Europe was started in 2008 and ever growing with objectives and aims. But the one I want to talk to you about is that the few projects that have been started by Africa Women in Europe. The two projects I want to specify with you today are Africa Women in Trade and the famous Africa Away Diaspora Circle that you all know was registered in Kenya and focusing Kenyans in Europe, women, and men. Why do I say that? Women are our center of focus as well as the youth. And that's why I bring these projects, Africa Women in Europe and Africa Women in Trade, joined together with the with Diaspora Circle. So Africa Women in Trade is a very, very, very interesting platform because African women in Europe decided they want to go back to the community in our motherland. How can we support our women in business? So we started Africa Women in Trade, thinking of I being a Kenyan, I would go to Kenya, right? And that's where the Awe Diaspora started. And between 3 years, it was already started Awe Diaspora Circle that is now running and looking for members. And I hope you can join us as well. So the Africa Women in Trade was a way to connect the whole continent as a motherland. So was started 2021 under the AfCFTA, that is Africa Continental Free Trade Area, where we are all campaigning for one market in Africa. What does that mean for our women? What does that mean for our youth? We should be getting excited. This is a great movement. Africa, made in Africa, for Africans. How does that sound? Yes. Agenda 2063 has showed us it is possible and it starts from you and I. And here is my part as a diaspora staying in Germany to bring all this together from my skills, my knowledge. How can we bring it together with the African women in Europe and having brought up the Africa Women in Trade? So Africa Women in Trade is a very interesting platform. It specifies exactly 4 pillars. And you would wonder why we thought 4 pillars. I don't come from Africa, I come from Kenya. But the 4 pillars were actually identified by 4,000 women and youth who decided to really come up with solutions and tell us these are the problems and how can we get the solutions. Some of people we think we don't know the solutions, but they knew the solutions. And as we speak right now, we have 4 pillars. The first pillar, information. Information is the key to anything in the world. So we are sharing information on our social platform, on our websites, and we have a special website where you can also register as a businesswoman or a youth. You have to be ready for trade because trade is one level higher. After you've done the business in your local region, sold across each other, moved to cross borders, then when you start cross border, we have started trading. And women are leading in this. And we are supporting sharing information. And the second one is market access. Women are so excited and looking forward for market access. We are tired. We've been told these products are here, beautiful products and amazing, amazing products. And I would ask you to go check on our website to see the products that women are producing. The products are ready for market. And what does the women say? They want market access. And that's our pillar number 2. Pillar number 3 is investment and grants. And we have seen through different projects in the continent and across other global markets offering grants, businesses. We have one famous one that we have all done called VDO Project. And this VDO Project has really helped businesses to get started. And now we see small businesses, farmers, cattle farmers, all doing great businesses, starting up slowly, but not ready for trade, but already to start something. And investors are already investing in business that want to grow. And I always tell my women, and I hope you agree with me, that we need market access, not money. It's time for trade and not aid. And when you have market access, you have enough to sell. And that way an investor can come in anytime, even the banks will be happy for you. So in the 4th pillar, which is the most important one as well, is the capacity building. Yes, we want to grade. Yes, we want to sell. How are we going to do this? Women, it's our time now to pull ourselves together, our resources, our knowledge, the environment around, to work around with us, help us to get to that level of selling. Yes, there's a lot out there. Yes, you have been doing a lot of courses. Take them serious because it's important to inform yourself where the sales are. If you want to go to global markets, what do they access? And here we are, African women in trade, with 4 pillars, as I mentioned: information, market access, investments and grants, and capacity building. Now we are really looking for the next steps to take us to 2023. And guess what? Market access is the first one. You all said very loud and clear, market access for your women. And we are working towards that the beginning of the year. We are going to focus, as well as you have known, AfCFTA has identified 8 countries where we can already start trading. And we can see that Kenya is already trading with Ghana. Teas, batteries, you name it, coffee. Why not? We always think abroad. Now we can do it here. So we'll be focusing on the 8 countries. So check out on that, because we'll be growing ourselves, informing ourselves how to go that under Women in Trade. And hopefully we meet again to really celebrate again the milestone. And I always tell you, as an entrepreneur, you can sell anything. If what you have right now is not selling, you need to pivot it, change, and look what is moving in your country, in your region, before you go to the cross border. So work with me in 2023. Feel very proud of yourself where you are. I've met strong women personally, even supported them to reach the small million step closer to trade. And we have a lot more to do, but we cannot do this alone. Together, we are strong. So I'm looking out to you, and see you again very soon. Yes, you had all about the whole idea of Africa Women in Trade, where we are heading to. Yes, information sharing, AfCFTA. I know it's a mouthful word. I know you're gonna get starting used to this word, AfCFTA, and what it really means. Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And you know what? We have the right person in house today to exactly do that for us today, explaining to us what is AfCFTA, what does that mean? It's a mouthful, but where do we start? Some people have never heard of this, but today we are here, and I'm so excited. Hello, hello. Let me see whether you can hear me, Beatrice, Madame, all the way in Ghana right now. You're muted.
Hello, Joy.
Yes,
Really good.
great.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much for making time. You're a lady
It's my
we hardly
pleasure.
see very often, and you only see her on Big Five. Now she's here with us. You women, I hope you're there. Keep sharing. I can see some of you are there. Write to me where you're listening us from, so that we can negotiate. I can see Zambian is there, Lois is here all the way. I get all your chats. Come on, send them over on there. Let me know where you're listening us from. We have a chat on YouTube. We have a chat on Facebook as well. And some of you are watching also on our website, but that's also YouTube. Go ahead, share with us where you're listening us from. We'll be very happy to engage with you. This very engagement, and ask your questions. This is all about information sharing. Remember, it was number one, information sharing, and that's what we do with all our webinars in general. So, not wasting so much time, let me hand over the stage to you, because everybody's there to hear to you. They want to know what is all this AfCFTA, and you have been following this for a long time. And when I got to know you is when we were starting, and I was very excited. I have somebody here who will be giving me information. Sometimes it looks like a very far away, AfCFTA looks like, whew. And I can
Yes.
imagine my women, I also feel like that. But you know what? You make us feel very closer to that and understand. So the stage is all yours, and I'm happy to
Thank you.
have you here today.
Thank you so much, Joy. You always give me such a warm welcome, and I'm so happy to be back here with you and your membership, which is always a very engaged and welcoming membership. And I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate that you always give me such a warm welcome. And I'm so happy to be back here with you and your membership, which is always a very engaged and welcoming membership. And I really appreciate that you always give me such a warm welcome. And I'm so happy to be back here with you and your membership, which is always a very engaged and welcoming membership. you know, you asked what is it about? What is this AfCFTA? For us, we think that the AfCFTA is the most exciting thing that has happened to Africa in a very long time. And you can actually even see that not just private sector and women entrepreneurs think that, but also government employees and government officials think that, because of the speed with which we're able to get things done. So without further ado, today I'm about to talk about the progress that we've made on establishing the single African services market under the Protocol on Trade and Services. So I'll start with that and share my slides with you. And I hope that this can be a very interactive session where I get questions and we have a really good discussion about what's happening and how the single African services market is taking shape. So let me just go on to the next slide. So my outline will just be giving some background on the AfCFTA, presenting the Protocol on Trade and Services and what it's really all about, telling you about what progress has been taking place in the negotiations to establish the single market, and then just saying a little bit about the benefits under the protocol and how women entrepreneurs can benefit, and then just concluding on some final thoughts. So this kind of just gives you some background. This really tells you how we got here and also where we want to go. So you may all know about the Abuja Treaty. This is all like kind of like the grandfather of the AfCFTA and how it all started. The Abuja Treaty is the treaty establishing the African Economic Community. Basically, African countries said, we don't just want to be single African states, we want to set up this African Economic Community. So it lays out this detailed time-bound schedule for African economic and political integration, and it does it through 6 stages. And actually, the AfCFTA is just one stage in this, and it starts since 1994 to establish the regional economic communities like ECOWAS, EAC, SADC, etc., to eliminate the tariff barriers in these RECs, then establish the free trade area, establish the Continental free trade area, and then establish a common market, because you've got free trade area, then common market, and then establishing this African Economic Community. And of course, feeding into that is things like Agenda 2063, which some of you may have heard of before. And even as we establish the Economic and Monetary Union down the line, this would also involve having an African central bank, a single African currency to enable this, smooth payments, things like that. So that's kind of sets the stage. Now, we are on the plank of the AfCFTA agreement, the free trade area. And this basically says intra-African trade will increase, industrial growth will be promoted by establishing this single market, and the market will enable free movement of people, investment, goods, and services. And we have done this in 2 phases. So since it's such a big endeavor, if you think about the 55 African countries, we broke it down into phases. So phase 1 protocols focused on trade in goods, trade in services, and dispute settlement. Phase 2 protocols focused on investment, intellectual property rights, competition policy, digital trade, and women and youth in trade. Now, I'm very happy to say that the first phases have been more or less concluded. We are now, the actual protocols were concluded and adopted. And now we're kind of putting the meat on the bones of these protocols on trade in goods, trade in services, by having the schedules, the actual, for instance, on trade in goods, the tariff schedules, and on trade in services, the schedules of specific commitments, which I'll come to talk about in a minute. And then, of course, as much as you can have trading partners having a common goal, there may be some disputes. So having a dispute settlement process is also very important. And now we also have investment, intellectual property rights, and competition protocols already concluded, What we're working on now is digital trade and women and youth in trade. This just gives you a kind of roadmap. I know that not everyone will be able to kind of see this, but if you look at how much progress we've made since the 10th extraordinary session of the AU Assembly that took place in Kigali, in Rwanda, on the 21st of March 2018, in which at the time only 44 African countries signed the agreement. But now, look at this, we now have the agreement entered into force like almost a year later, over a year later. Then the start of trade happened in January 2021. Then by October 2022, we had 54 signatories and already 44 state parties of the AfCFTA agreement. And then again, in October, we had the protocols on investment, IPRs, and competition policy now concluded. So you can see the beginnings of this AfCFTA taking shape. Now, let me turn to talk about the protocol on trade and services. This, again, under the agreement, it's a plank of the agreement. It seeks to create this single continental services market through the progressive liberalization of trade and services. And by liberalization, we mean the gradual opening up. It means by progressive liberalization, we mean things are opened up, barriers are reduced, restrictions are removed gradually, that kind of thing. And it's progressive because it's understood that not everything can be done overnight, not everything can be done immediately. And the states decided they wanted to start the negotiations in 5 priority sectors. These are business services, communication, financial, transport, and tourism services. All of these services are really very critical to the economies of all African countries. So they decided that they wanted to focus on these 5, with the 7 coming later. Now, in this first round, just to give you an idea of the scale of the services that we are talking about, if you just look at the professional services alone under business services, you have everything from legal services all the way down to kind of like, paramedical personnel, nurses, physiotherapists, etc. In computer and related services, which are also a subsector of business services, you have things like real estate services, rental and leasing services. In communication services, you have things like telecommunications, audiovisual services, things like broadcasting, etc. You have so many services for which jobs can be created, for which women can do their business, for which women can create services and deliver services to other people. So this is just to kind of show you the range. In financial services, although you've only got 3 services there, if you look at the whole range of insurance services from life to accident or whatever, it's just, so broad. Same with banking, same with other financial services, things like fintech coming up now. In tourism services, same thing. Transport services, I'm sure lots of people didn't even know that space transport was a service that could be liberalized. Pipeline transport could be something that can be liberalized, and you have trade in that. So this is just to kind of show you the kind of breadth and the depth of services that can be part of this market in which African countries can trade with each other. And then in the additional sectors, which will come under negotiation round 2, you have distribution services, educational services, environmental services, health-related and social services, recreational, cultural, and sporting. And that includes things like film, fashion, design, TV, and then, of course, all kinds of sports and cultural services. Then there are construction and related engineering services, and then other services not included elsewhere, and that can include things like energy services, etc. So that's the range, that's the content in terms of the thematic content of the Protocol on Trade and Services. Now, what is the approach to liberalization? How is this liberalization going to take place? It takes place through the commitments that are made by the countries, specifying the depth and the scope of the market opening. That's called market access. You know, Joy always goes on about market access. How do we access these markets? How do we get in there? At the same time, there's also national treatment. When you get into the market, how are you treated vis-a-vis? If you're going into Kenya, how are you, if you're from Burundi or Mozambique, how are you, Mozambique or Burundi, treated vis-a-vis the other business person from Kenya? That's national treatment. So the idea is to remove discrimination, level the playing field, and enable people to do their business, to trade within the market. First, to access the market, and then when they're in the market, be treated just as fairly as the domestic market. Now, the other plank of the approach to liberalization is regulatory frameworks, because the idea is to not to give with one hand and then take with the other. So you may open up your market, but then you maybe use some kind of obscure regulation or law to reduce the type of trade that the foreign person or even their market access to even enter the market. So the idea is to have these regulatory principles that will support market access and national treatment, as well in the individual sectors. So everything from business services to tourism for now, and then the whole 12 sectors later, as well as those that are relevant to more than one sector, that we call cross-cutting regulatory frameworks. So for example, the establishment of an independent regulator for a particular industry like telecoms, or eliminating or removing monopoly rights, or eliminating restrictive business practices where, for instance, the first mover has gone in there and tried and been such a big presence in the industry that they kind of crowd out everyone else. So these are the kinds of ideas that to kind of match the schedule with the regulatory frameworks to ensure that those regulatory frameworks don't in themselves become a barrier to trade. Now, specifically for things like professional services, there will be the negotiation of mutual recognition agreements. So these are agreements normally between like business associations like lawyers or accountants, engineers, where they say, yes, there's an engineer coming from Angola to serve the market in Uganda. Now, we don't know that person, but can we look at their certificate, their qualification, and say it's more or less equivalent to what a Ugandan engineer would have? So we would recognize that person's qualification. This kind of, these type of arrangements we call MRAs are also going to be helping to liberalize the market, ensure that there is liberalization in terms of the movement, facilitating the movement of professionals to deliver good quality services in the various markets. On the other side of the approach to liberalization, where you deliver your commitments, we develop these regulatory frameworks, these modes of supply show how the services are delivered, how you can deliver services, how you can give your service, you as the service supplier. So through mode 1, which is cross-border supply, you can sit as an accountant in your country and you can deliver services through the internet to a customer in another country. That is where you have cross-border supply. In mode 2, where it's consumption abroad, it's usually always through like things like tourism, either business or leisure tourism, where you have to actually leave your country to go to another country in order to consume that service. So you go and you stay in a hotel, you eat in a restaurant, you go to a spa, that kind of thing. That's consumption abroad. Mode 3 is commercial presence, where, for instance, you've got a bank that wants to establish a branch in another country. You open a branch, you have a law firm, you want to open a branch of your law firm in another country. That's commercial presence. Now, mode 4, movement of natural persons, is where the individual is, say, an IT expert, has very highly skilled person. You have to travel to another person's country, to meet your customer there and deliver your service. You don't sit in your country and deliver the service across. So you could be a doctor, a lawyer, IT technician doing that kind of service. Now, I'm very happy to say that so far, in terms of our state of play, we now have, this is the meat on the bones of the protocol. We now have final schedules of specific commitments for 21 AfCFTA state parties. We've got some individual countries like Djibouti, Congo, Lesotho, Eswatini, Zimbabwe, Zambia, that have delivered their individual schedules of specific commitments. Then we also have combined schedules where you have, like the case of the East African community, which is a customs union, where you have countries like Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, etc., that have come together to say, actually, our services market is so harmonized that we can only give like our combined, we can't do it individually. We have to kind of come together and deliver our schedule in this way. Same thing with Central Africa, the CEMAC countries, which is the Central African Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC, and the countries like Cameroon, Chad, Congo, Gabon, etc. So all of these make up 21. Even with the combined schedules, you have the countries identified because it will be the countries themselves that will be implementing these schedules. The schedules aren't implemented by the East African Community Secretariat. They're implemented by the specific country. So Kenya has to say, yes, within the EAC schedule, this is my particular national schedule. And for this, for mode 1 here in engineering, I say this. In, for mode 4, for legal, I say this, that kind of thing. So we're very pleased that already we're seeing the single market, the single African services market taking shape in this way. Now, let me say a little bit about the status of the work on regulatory frameworks and MRAs. We already have a broad paper that kind of almost like a little, it's sort of a set of principles that says, in terms of cross-cutting and core frameworks, this is the content that will be used, and this has been adopted by the Council of Ministers already in January 2022, and from that paper there will be extrapolated certain principles, certain common elements that will go into some specific regulatory frameworks to do with either say financial, communication, or transport, this kind of thing. It's almost kind of like a store that you can just go and take certain elements that you can then build upon and use as the case may be. We've also done capacity building and training sessions specifically for regulatory frameworks under communication and financial services, because those are the ones that were considered very, very key in terms of there's been some advances in technology, and the industry is really almost, these are backbone industries that are needed for any modern economy. So all the other frameworks in terms of the priority sectors for now, the work will continue throughout 2023, 2024, and the same thing with mutual recognition agreements. In the margins of the AU Extraordinary Summit in November, there was the launch of the National Regulatory Audit Reports for all AU member states. And these regulatory audit reports basically just set out the landscape for the regulatory environment in the countries. And this covers all sectors, not even just the priority sectors. It covers all the 12 sectors. So this kind of gives it's a tool for countries to continue to negotiate, and it's also very helpful for like academics to also know what the regulations are in these countries dealing with trade issues on services. Now, let me say something about, now that we have these schedules of specific commitments, how are they going to be used? I'll say a little bit about that later also, because they have to now go into national law. But late last year, the AfCFTA Secretariat basically facilitated the establishment of the guided trade initiative, because it was seen that there are countries that have their tariff schedules in goods, and now there was like movement on the schedules for services, and it was thought, why not help countries that are willing to trade already to get started? And so that's how this AfCFTA initiative on guided trade started, to basically kickstart commercially meaningful trade between those states that have already signaled their readiness to trade. And in October, the Council of Ministers basically said, yes, it's fine, trade in goods, but you also need trade in services. So for instance, who can think about any goods going without any mode of transport? I mean, no. So services are a key component of trade. And so it was determined that there should be a parallel initiative on guided trade and services to support this fast tracking of the implementation of the protocol on trade and services. And those that are that have their schedules or specific commitments already adopted can then now start trading with each other. That refers to the 21 adopted schedules. And then this will be, all the work will be centered around or will be guided by a committee that will be set up. And so the committee will hold its first meeting next week. And we're anticipating that we'll get some real direction on which countries want to trade with each other, in which services, in which subsectors, etc. Let me just say a little bit on although my area is not goods, but this is essentially what is already happening right now. Under goods, you've got countries like Cameroon, Rwanda, Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Mauritius, that have already started. This is just like a little synopsis of the countries that are already there. So you can see, for instance, Mauritius has provided a whole list of products it wants to trade. Same with Kenya. Kenya has like about 27 companies with over 50 products it wants to trade. Egypt has got 7 companies with about 20. So this is now happening, and once countries start, that's it. Others will see what's going on and think, oh no, we're not going to get left behind. We're going to jump in there. And then that's how it will all mushroom and develop. So I wanted to just tell you a little bit, if you don't already know, about the benefits of that will come to Africa with the implementation of trade and services. The most important thing is the removal of barriers to trade. The whole ethos of the AfCFTA was that we're trading with other countries, we're trading with other regions. Why not trade with each other? Let's boost intra-Africa trade. So removing the barriers to trade will lead to reducing the time and cost of transacting across borders, basically reducing cost of trade, will provide new market opportunities, will provide increased investment, will provide a better regulatory environment, and it'll be fed by a mobile workforce that can cross barriers with their credentials, their qualifications, etc. This will enable information sharing, will enable best practice, enable people to become more competitive. and there will be the development of regional and continental value chains, will lead to increased employment, skill transfer, and inclusivity, will lead to diversification of goods and services. Who knows, even now, I mean, who knew, 20, 30 years down the line, previously, that we would have something called crypto, that we would have the innovations in fintech that we're seeing now, that we would see blockchain being applied in so many different sectors. We didn't know. So the diversification of goods, services, the emergence of new services, of value-added products is only going to increase and get better and better. Of course, the development of infrastructure will be important, but once you have investment moving in, it's very likely that that will also feed in infrastructure. And then the whole idea also is to, once you implement the protocol, you reduce the conformity assessments that you need for each and every single country. You have more harmonized systems, you reduce duplication of effort. And this just kind of gives you an idea of just how African women can use the opportunities in services. Look, as I mentioned, there'll be more sectors opening up. You saw the range of sectors already and subsectors. So opening up of businesses will obviously be accelerated, scaling up of existing women-led businesses, leveraging e-commerce and digital solutions, as we see already taking place now, increasing employee skills, and of course, leveraging business networks. All of this is the sort of interplay that we see happening between providing the openness under the schedules of specific commitments on the one hand, and then having systemization and harmonization of regulatory frameworks on the other hand, and then enabling mutual recognition of qualifications and even systems effectively. I know I don't have to say this too loud, because Joy is already doing this through Africa Women in Trade, but this is effectively what business associations should be doing. They should be focusing on helping their membership to advance dialogue with governments, to exchange their views, address any bottlenecks that are related to the implementation of the AfCFTA, supporting participation in trade fairs. For instance, we know the intra-Africa trade fair is taking place in Côte d'Ivoire this year in November. It'll be in Abidjan. The AfCFTA Business Forum is taking place in March in Cape Town. I think it's early March. Then there are other regional stakeholder meetings taking place, just providing more opportunities for MSMEs to engage trade regulators, maybe through chambers of commerce, through other kinds of roundtables, enabling their membership to elaborate strategic frameworks. So for instance, a lot of countries have already done their AfCFTA national strategies. Within that context, how can small business, how can women entrepreneurs take advantage of that strategy at the national level to grow their businesses and to reach out and access markets? That should be something on the radar of AWT and other business associations. And then, of course, spread the word about AWT, make sure that other business women know about this business network, that there are business training opportunities, that there is trade information, and that, where possible, there are sources of financing to be had. These are all really critical factors to enabling business women, entrepreneurs, professional women also, to take advantage of the AfCFTA. And then just lobby, ask questions, ask what, those countries, for instance, that you didn't see on the list of those that have adopted their schedules of specific commitments. Ask, why isn't ECOWAS there, for instance? Why aren't other countries there? Ask your governments, where are you? At what stage is your schedule of specific commitments? what is the progress in terms of submitting it for finalization and for adoption. These are the things that women in business can do to kind of get their voices heard and to get action, real action around the implementation of the AfCFTA. So in terms of the road ahead, as I mentioned, these adopted schedules of specific commitments will be transformed into domestic law that will enable national implementation. It will enable open markets in the priority service sectors in the first instance. The regulatory frameworks, more work will continue to be done. We hope that, the financial and communication regulatory frameworks will be adopted by the end of the year. We'll continue to work on mutual recognition, but it doesn't just depend on us, the Secretariat. We'll have input from professional associations. We'll look at what's happening in the RECs, for instance, in EAC, for instance. There's been a lot of work done on mutual recognition, and at least I think 4 or 5 professional bodies have already, or business professional services have already been concluded in terms of mutual recognition arrangements within the EAC. Then, of course, the guided trade initiative will get started, and we hope that there will be quite a lot of robust trade within that framework, and we'll obviously keep you informed of what is happening and which countries decide to trade what. But you can inform your governments that you're very interested in this particular market, in that particular market, so that they can actually communicate that under the committee. So just to conclude, to say that really I would say the sky's the limit in terms of the AfCFTA and what women can do under the AfCFTA. We've got the schedules, we've got the regulatory frameworks. These already provide a good pathway to the development of the single African services market, and that will then allow the huge benefits that have already been predicted under the AfCFTA to materialize. So Joy, I will stop right here, and I hope now we can have a discussion around the presentation. I hope I was clear, and I hope that your membership benefited from the information. Thank you.
Wow. That was a lot of, I was just writing. If you guys have not been writing, and I'm happy this is recorded because I'll listen to it again because I was so busy making sure everybody's in here and listening. And see, we're almost 30 women here and gentlemen listening, and youth, of course, wanted to know about this discussion live. And it's recorded, as I mentioned, because most of the people, I know you're busy in the afternoon hours, but what a lot of guys, I can see you're all there, you're listening, ask a question. I can see people all the way from Norway, Kenya, that's my dear friend Rachel there, Mwakazi, and also we also have France, very diaspora oriented here all the way. And as we talk about that, we have Kenya in here as well. Before I saw quite a lot of you from Sierra Leone is also here. I think must have been the people I met in the trade today, during the trade that I'm in Berlin.
I know, Antonia. Hi, Antonia. Thank you for joining.
Exactly. They're very good. In London as well, Uganda, Zambia. Thank you so much. Now it's time to ask your questions because we only have this every AfCFTA update, hopefully again, but most of the time we have it the first thing in the new year, so that you guys, you can plan your year properly as we get there. So I will have, I'm seeing some question someone mentioned there. Thank you, Beatrice, for impeccable presentation. Yes, she always does have her part in that. And quite a lot. Write your questions. I'll try to do it. But before we go there, because I had also my own questions there for my women, because last year, as you know, we had an event in Cape Town, and one of them is actually here, and she'll also come in to talk about her products. And I like the way you said services, because some people don't really relate services like a part of trade. But for me, I believe actually trade is services, right? Including the goods, because someone has to do it's about exchange change. So you've mentioned here, and that's something that I'm also very happy about, employment, right? Which is
Yes.
part of trade, and also
Yes.
other things like tourism. We know it's also
Mm-hmm.
part of trade.
Mm.
Logistic. This word, my
Yeah.
women cannot even hear this word anymore because they're like, "What are you doing about logistics?" And
Logistics.
I'll specifically stay on that point,
Yes.
logistics.
Yes.
We, as I told you, we had an event in Cape Town, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the product was sent, and you
Yes.
can see the importance of the services of logistics. The product didn't arrive there
Wow.
on time, and
Oh,
due to whatever reason. And I know you said you have a link, and I've shared with the members who love, but how?
yeah.
I mean, it's only when you go to the practicability to understand how
Exactly.
logistic is
Mm-hmm.
critical. I have seen there's a lot of events coming. How
Yeah.
is the logistic? Is it a suitcase thing, or do we still have any
Yes.
services that are helping us
Mm-hmm.
in that area in
Yes.
the continent?
Yes. 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 We actually we've understood this issue, and the issue of transport and logistics is huge. Just moving goods across borders. So you've got the actual physical movement, and then you've got the human element where you've got the person at the border that looks at this good and thinks, "Oh, why is this coming in here? And what is it? And what's the tariff?" And if there's no tariff, it's like, we'll just put it down, or we'll write a letter, not like call or send an email or anything. We'll just put it down, and then we'll write a letter to so and hope that so and so tells us what we can do with this. So what we are trying to now do is, I mean, there's a section of the AfCFTA that deals with customs, which is like the human element. It's the human element plus all the systems and everything, because of course if you have automation, then you reduce the human element. But there is an annex under the trade in goods protocol, which deals with customs, mutual assistance, transit, trade facilitation, etc. For our part in services, we are looking at things like maritime, road, air transport services as ways in which goods can quickly get across borders. Now, even under the guided trade initiatives. So on the one hand, now, what have countries scheduled as the commitments that they will make on the maritime, on the air, on the road? That's already one thing. That's already a factor. If the country has not scheduled it as, oh, I'll open up maritime transport, I'll open up air transport, then there's nothing you can do. Okay, so the market has to be open. Then on the other side, so say for instance, you were talking about, say, I don't know, it could be Ghana to South Africa. Ghana could say, oh, I'll open up air transport. But if South Africa hasn't opened up air transport to Ghana, then the transport network isn't going to work with those. So this is what we're trying to get air transport and maritime, all the modes of transport liberalized under the AfCFTA. At the same time, we're trying to push for the single African air transport market to work, because we see these. It's also the SATM, which is like pushing the implementation of the Yamoussoukro decision, which was taken a long time ago, but basically to ensure that all of these things are aligned and working together. In the meantime, under the AfCFTA, we will work on, just nudging countries to open up in the areas where it's so obvious you need this for business to work. Yeah. So air transport is one. And we're hoping that under the guided trade initiative, there can be like forums or discussions around how the taxes and charges can be reduced. And then at the same time, how customs systems, customs personnel can be very efficient to ensure that goods move through borders very, very easily and quickly.
Wow, wow. I mean, I hope that's something that we need like yesterday. And I hope Nigerians are really listening as well as the business people, because as you said,
Mhm.
it's like a cycle. If the business people don't
Yes.
bring this issue up,
Yes.
the
Yes.
government doesn't know that they need to do something, right?
Correct.
And if they don't know, the private sector would also be eager to bring solutions, which in the
Yes.
private sector I call the diaspora. Guys, you're in there,
Correct.
logistic. When you've had that, there's an
Absolutely.
opportunity there
Yes.
to get businesses started with the aircraft and services,
Correct.
logistics stuff. There's
Correct.
also
There you
opportunity.
go.
It's a cycle of
Yes.
discussion. So first of all, we
Yes.
have to start with the business people, because they're the ones to
Yes.
mention the issues. And you mentioned a link there, and I'll be sharing there on the chat, where
Yes.
you can put your complaints if
Yes.
there is something happening in your country, and or yourself, because I
Mm-hmm.
know some of my women who got stuck with the product. To them, go fill up this information,
Yeah.
and so that they are aware of this issue. I'll be here. I
Mm-hmm.
can. I'm happy that I'm able to do that. But
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
think alone I can do it, because you're the people who are doing it, and it's easier to do that, and it's so important. So now that's one part. I can see now some questions and are coming in. I'll come through that.
Okay.
And let's go
Yeah.
back now to we know the logistics. Let's mention the big elephants in the room, because
Mm-hmm.
these are the
Mm-hmm.
ones
Mm-hmm.
I found myself into. I thought they weren't that serious, but they were, until when you go to the ground,
Yes.
hosting like an expo like we did in Cape Town. And so the other
Mm.
one was finance, was
Mm-hmm.
payment system, which is
Mm-hmm.
also a service, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
there was this issue of women paying each other. So don't forget, you
Uh-huh.
have somebody coming from Kenya, let me say Kenya, going with Kenya shillings,
Okay.
going to South Africa,
Yeah.
doing business there, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Of course, they have to say the Kenya shillings into rand,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then they negotiate. Some of them, they want to do it in rands because that's what they understand. Some people want it US dollar. It's
Yes.
even worse when it gets to
Yes.
that point. It's another
Yes.
exchange.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then now you've sold in rands. Now you want to go back home. You can't
Mm-hmm.
take rands with you. you know
No,
so you
exactly.
need to change the
Yes.
rands again, either to the US
Yes.
dollars,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then maybe when you go to
Yes.
your country, you can change your dollar.
Mm-hmm.
How is that solution
Yes.
really happening there? And
Yes.
I know there's
Yes.
something
Yes.
cooking to prepare
Yes,
the
there
people as
is.
well.
There
Yeah.
is. And we're very excited about it. I mean, it will change the whole financial landscape. Maybe your membership already knows about it already. There is the Pan-African Payment System, PAPS, we call it. And it's an initiative from Afrexim Bank that where they've partnered with us, the AfCFTA Secretariat. The idea is to provide convertibility of local currency. So just using the example, you as a buyer in Kenya wanting to buy a product in that is being sold by somebody in South Africa, you can pay your Kenyan shillings. In in South Africa, the other person will receive rand, and it will just
Wow.
be automatic. Yes, it'll be automatic, and you will receive your rand. It'll be the equivalent of what the Kenyan shilling, but you won't have to convert into dollar, then send the dollar, and then the dollar has to get converted into the rand with all the transaction costs that are associated with that, making prices high and all this kind of stuff. No. So there's a pilot project right now
Mm-hmm.
in West Africa for
Mm-hmm.
PAPS, and already I think there was a transaction. There were a few transactions last year that took place on the PAPS to make sure that it all went through seamlessly and everything. So that is coming, and it will be expanded
Wow.
continent wide, and it will change the game because it will
Yeah.
remove all these middleman costs and hassle, because sometimes it is hassle, and when people think about it, they're like, I don't think I'll do it. So yes, some of these things have a chilling effect. So it's very
Yeah.
important. So the idea of AfCFTA, apart from increased trade and whatever, it's also ease. It's ease of trade. That's really one of the things that has to be taken away by your membership. That this AfCFTA, so push the officials. Your business has to be easy to be done. It's got to be easy. It shouldn't be hard, you know? So
Yeah.
you've already done the hard bit by conceptualizing your product, conceptualizing your service. You've done the hard work. Now things should be easy when you want to trade. So that's the thing. It's making it easy for the business community to trade with each other. So PAPS is one. And then hopefully, down the line, as I told you, coming down the line will be this customs and monetary union, single currency or whatever. But right now, we have to recognize each other's currency.
Wow, wow. I love that. I love that. I can't imagine doing the transaction, Kenya Finland, and that's it. I don't need to have to change this currency. And you can imagine, like, even coming out from Europe, you have to change it. Europe, everybody in Africa talk US
Exactly.
dollar. You still have to
Yes.
change the euro to US dollar. It's a
Yes.
lot of, somebody is
Yes.
gaining in the between, but it's not
Yes.
the African
Yes.
market.
Yes.
So
And
that was, yeah.
by the way, Joy, we find that there are a number of commercial banks that have signed on to PAPS. So I know that EcoBank is one. I think EcoBank has signed on to PAPS. Yes,
Oh wow, that's
absolutely.
good.
PAPS is a game changer. There you go. Someone else
You
has
see,
recognized it.
she's
Yes.
in Germany and she knows already about PAPS. Well done
Mhm.
to do this. She's quite a
Yeah.
good member. Myself, also a
Yes.
dynamic lady selling stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So
Wonderful.
there is also another concept that I also want to bring in, because I know I give you all what I say. I don't talk about something that didn't happen. I'm talking about something
Sure.
that happened to me and my members.
Mhm.
So we know about
Yes.
this.
No, we
So
need practical examples. These are the
yes.
things that make the thing live and real.
Yes. So the other part that was happening in terms of there's one more in the diaspora concept, right? And I had you
Mhm.
talking about employment, and now you can go and work in a different country.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
as you know, there is a freedom of movement that is needed. There is a visa thing, which is also
Mhm.
service. Right,
Yes.
and we had women people coming to Cape Town. I have to say, I was expecting maybe there will be a lot of issue, but I didn't hear
Mhm.
anybody who complained we didn't get a visa. It's just because it was the last minute. Of course, when you
Mhm.
do ask.me.com, Kenya African people, please, you'll be going to
Mhm.
Cape Town or somewhere, prepare your visas early. It's normally a process, but it doesn't stop you. And now people are going for movement, right? They need to move from one. I can see East Africa, they have already the passport, they can move within each other and all that. And so how, in terms of unpacking these together, movement
Mhm.
of people and employment. And when I say employment, the diaspora, because some of you want to come to Europe and everywhere else, you can hear there is an opportunity of employment now within the country, because all these things are happening now. Someone has to do the job, right? Some countries are better off, some people, and I know
Yes.
I always say Africa, we are overqualified. The diplomas we carry is unbelievable,
Yeah.
but the opportunity to do the jobs are not there. And that's another story of another day,
Yeah.
changing the mindset. So how is the AfCFTA really helping with that, especially movement of people, visa, and employment? Did I lose you?
So I remember how I talked about the ways in which services can be delivered. So mode 4 is one. That is where a service provider travels to another country to deliver their service. So that's intercontinental initiative that is taking place is the African passport. You may have heard about it, and that is a component of another treaty, which is the AU Protocol on Free Movement. But it's slightly different from what is supposed to happen under Mode 4 of the Protocol on Trade and Services. The AU Protocol on Free Movement gives the right. It basically says any other, so long as you're a state party of that protocol, you have a right to go to another country and live, you know, and have a right of residence. You can go and become a resident in another country. So someone from Burundi can go to Mali if Mali and Burundi are part of the are state parties of the Protocol on Free Movement. The Protocol on Trade and Services for Mode 4 talks about temporary movement of natural persons, and the temporary is just for the purpose of delivering that service. So you go, you deliver that service, then you come back. You don't have a right of residence. So you go maybe as a business visitor for 90 days. You know, for instance, in the ECOWAS region, you have that. You have that free movement a protocol which says anyone in the ECOWAS region can move around to each other's countries. You have the right to go there for 90 days, but then after that 90 days you have to come back. So you can't stay. Or if you stay, you need to then subject yourself to the national law and comply with the national law on that. So it's slightly different, but it can the protocol, the two protocols can work together and assist each other. So whereas the protocol on free movement, and again we constantly try to get countries to understand that in using mode 4, because unfortunately I have to say mode 4 tends to be some of the most restrictive. Like it's restricted a lot because countries think, oh no, we have to get our jobs for our own people first before we give jobs to others. But if you think of it as one market, one Africa, then you don't think like that. You think, oh, what skills could I get? What talents can I bring in, to do something and then go. And especially because it's temporary, you shouldn't really feel like jobs are being taken away, but you think jobs are being added. Technological capacity is being added. Improved human resources are being added. Things like that. So that's the way in which those two things work. And we see that although mode 4 is restricted, there is an opportunity through, for instance, as I mentioned, the MRAs, because in doing these mutual recognition arrangements, even from business association to business association, say like accountants or engineers, you will understand the needs that each other have for like recognition of qualification. And then you'll think, maybe I'll go back and revise my mode 4 schedule and maybe remove that restriction, whatever. So these are all ways in which it can be interdependent.
Wow. These are quite useful answer you're sharing there. I'm just checking if we have any other questions out there that I'm missing out. There's a lot of compliments there.
Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you for the beneficial opportunity listening from South Africa. Yes, someone is saying the easier, the more sustainable. That's it.
I think it was about the ease of trade. Yes.
Otherwise, it's not. It's a progress work and interesting. This will change the financial landscape totally. Yes, that is a PAPS. And we are so grateful for that because it's going to make a difference. This one is from US. Thank you, guys. I think you're waking up now. Great work. Women are enhancing each other, the respective economies. Jake, thank you for that. And then we also have here from my dear from Namibia, looking forward of connection opportunities. And I like the whole idea that also you talked about before I get there. Thank you, Madam Chaytor. This is a vital, timely information. Thanks for the empowering initiatives. Is Joy. Thank you all the way from Norway. I'm learning a lot. Yes, I'm telling you the AfCFTA, you have a book to read. And the website actually is very simple to navigate. And also it has almost everything if you take your time. And I like it because it's simplified and I like that we can all understand, because some of these protocol people can talk a language you don't even know what does that mean now.
Exactly.
So I have to say, if I understand,
we're planning a business guide actually. Yes, we are planning a guide on the protocol itself, on the protocol on trade and services. We in our secretary, in our division, our trade and services division, we're planning on developing and preparing a guide, guide to
You know the way that I like, not I like, but I always go, what does ABFOCD? We have to really help our women. This doesn't,
Exactly.
we don't understand those languages
Yes.
abbreviated. And
No,
what I like it is
absolutely.
like your in your protocol is always broken down. At some point we
Yes.
get to know. So I say good morning there. Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle. Thank you for joining us. There is the Modestia, that one we saw earlier. Yes, there's quite a lot in discussion here as well.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I can see people are learning. I think they're all hearing this. As I told you, we
Yeah.
need to go to break down the story. And I love that I'm seeing diasporans
Yes.
here, because this is something that
Yes.
I think it's a new word, the CFTA. What does that mean?
Yes.
And we have really digested it very easily for them to, for anyone to understand, and where they can trap, where the opportunities are, right? And
Mhm.
also the Africa Women in Trade are here as well. And I'm so excited because I have one here who will be really, I don't know, normally she has so many questions. I'll bring her up earlier, but she'll come back to share with them because she's very, she's a lady who is
Oh,
following
yes.
AfCFTA very closely, Madam Funke. And I'm putting her here because I know she always have a question before
Hello,
she
Dr.
does what
Funke.
she is
How are
supposed to
you?
come to do today. You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Could
Good.
you, before we bring you in, I know you're coming to because some of you who don't know Madam Funke, she's a very dynamic lady from Nigeria. Actually, she doesn't
Yes.
agree, but she's a diaspora who, who is in Nigeria, doing amazing work in the humanitarian
Wonderful. Oh,
industry.
I look forward to sampling your products at some point.
Yes,
Beautiful.
and she's gonna
Beautiful.
talk about it tonight because every
I hope
webinar we
we meet
always
in
have
Abidjan.
one person showcasing. But I know she has a question for you
Yeah,
for
I'll look
now.
for you in Abidjan, definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead,
Okay,
ask your
thank you.
question.
Thank you very, very, very much, Beatrice. I think I think how do you put it now? Conflict of interest, because you are my mom. You bear the same name,
Oh,
and she was a woman I respected so much because of her doggedness. And when you were making your presentation, I said I didn't expect less. Thank you very much for that beautiful
Oh, that's so
information.
kind of you. I really appreciate that. I really
Thank
appreciate that. And I'm
you.
honored to have the same name as your mom. I'm
Yeah,
really honored.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, like Joy said, um, like I actually mentioned in my presentation, the signing or the general awareness of AfCFTA in January 2021 was a very welcome development to us. But I honestly wish that we were I was a technocrat for a long time, so I know where you are coming from. But it will be very, very useful to actually drill down to the practitioners. I mean, I've learned so much since leaving the sphere of technocracy, so to say, and going into business. The issue of logistics, and I'm grateful to you for what you said the AfCFTA is already doing. But the question I have is at what cost? Because, now the air services are there, but I would say it's at discriminatory service, because I just this week, which is really very, very current with me, I was trying to send some goods to Geneva from Lagos. And each packet that I'm holding was going to cost me $1.2 each packet to move from Lagos to Geneva. Then I'm still at a dilemma, because at what cost will the buyers get it from us? Is it ever going to be price competitive? I don't think so. So if AFCA, I mean, if Europe, if they can regulate their prices, is there any way at all that AfCFTA can get into this logistics issue, because it's going to just mess up our trading. You know, that we can actually transport our goods at reasonable cost. And I don't think I'm actually making a request that is non-attainable. I'll tell you why. I happen to have a couple in Geneva in an apartment that I knew, and they were relocating to Canada just this last year. It was during the COVID restrictions, and the lady was pregnant with her first child, she and the husband. And they were to move. She said they were not going to be involved in moving, in getting involved with suitcases. She was going to transport all their suitcases with her on Air France. And I'm being very specific. They had 12 suitcases, 12. Each of them was minimum 23 kilograms. They were entitled to 4, which means they had 8 extra to transport. I was really afraid to hear the cost it was going to be. But you know, I almost fainted when she came back and the 8 extra suitcases, 23 multiplied by 8, cost them 420 Swiss francs, dollars, sorry, to move from Geneva to Ontario, Canada. And the flight time, I'm sure by the time somebody leaves Geneva to come to Lagos and somebody leaves to go to Canada, you would have arrived Lagos before arriving Canada. And it's the same fuel the aircrafts are using. Why should Air France carry 8 suitcases for $425 from Geneva to Canada? And now they will carry 1 suitcase, 1 bag of 20 kg for $168 from Lagos of goods. So please, where are we going? Can AfCFTA please help us? Now is a plea. We need your help. So how do you go about that? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your perspective. And this is not the first anecdote that I've heard, and I'm sure it's not the first anecdote that a lot of my colleagues have heard. Can I just explain the difference between me sitting here as a representative of the AfCFTA Secretariat and then the broader AfCFTA that we are talking about? Okay. This AfCFTA that we are talking about, and if I should break it down, I should break it down into 54 countries. Okay. You see, it is 54 countries that make up this AfCFTA as signatory countries. Yeah. Then those that have said, oh yes, we agree to be bound, that's 44. Yeah. Now, we the Secretariat can say to the 54 or the because they members to negotiate to the members, and then the state parties, this and this and this is what you should be doing. Yeah. Now, whether they do it is then up to each of them. So the only time that, say, we can step in to kind of enforce is when there's a dispute, or, you know, we can help with things like capacity building and whatever. But I mean, let me just give you an example. We've nudged a lot of the countries to give their schedules of specific commitments. ECOWAS has gone through revisions of their schedule, but they haven't actually submitted a schedule to be adopted, even though it's almost ready. Ethiopia, you know, still has not submitted even their initial offer. So there's a process to kind of get to where we want to. But I would just ask if you can just bear with us. Meanwhile, you as the private sector, through your chambers of commerce, through your influential business organizations, you know, say to the government, we want you to have done this by yesterday. You know, we need you to do this because it is affecting our livelihood. you know, it's affecting our livelihood. It then means that we cannot grow our business, meaning you cannot get adequate tax revenues as government. Yeah, this effectively, this is it. This is it. Because if it's almost like you are killing the goose that will lay the golden egg.
That is it.
Before the goose begins to even conceive of laying the golden egg, you see. So I think that is really the thing, to separate out what we as the Secretariat can do and what the AfCFTA itself as the 54 countries can do. And we keep saying to them, you can do better. It's like when you have your report card and your teacher says, this child has such potential, they can do better. Remember all that can do better in your report card? This is what we keep saying to the countries. We know you can do better.
Please, ma'am, talking about Secretariat and the member states.
Yes.
By the grace of God, I worked for WHO for 22 years, so I fully understood you.
Yes.
You know, but there is something as a Secretariat that you can do. You can always initiate actions. We know how all these things work, within the international system. You can always initiate actions. And please, this and many others are areas that, yes, the protocols are fantastic, but the realistic issues can be initiated by the Secretariat to the member states.
Yes. This is why we did the guided trade initiative, because we saw that things weren't moving as quickly as we wanted. If we were going to wait for everybody to be ready, nothing would happen. So this is why we said, let's do this guided trade initiative. Let's kind of like push and pull and handhold and everything. So now we have countries that are saying, yes, we're ready to trade. And look, we can send shipments like tomorrow, you know? So, and now we've said, you can't just do this only with goods. You have to do it with services as well. And services, transport services. Yeah. So now we're waiting for countries to say, on this sector, we want to trade with that person. We want to do. So for Nigeria, at the moment, nothing much can be done without that schedule, though. We need your schedule of specific commitments. Yes. Yes.
And Nigeria need to be on board because it's a huge export
needs to submit its schedule of specific commitments.
Yeah. So thank you. That's really, I hope we've answered so many of them. Funke, she's the one who is really on the ground doing because she has a business. She has to sell, as you can see, the product.
I wish I could bring you over to give a talk and just like give
is brilliant. Please do.
Yes. Okay. Because we need to hear from people like you. We need to hear from people like you. Yeah.
Yes, and as I always have on board, you can always reach out to her. She's and if you can't reach out to me, I have all these women. She's one of them, and so many. But she's the one who's really dealing, especially with the intra-trade and global. So she'll give you the concept of both because
no, absolutely. But Joy and Dr. Funke, I can assure you, I will take this particular. No problem, Joy. I will take this. I will take your instance and use it as an example when I'm intervening during the guided trade initiative, for instance. Yeah,
we'll greatly appreciate that, ma'am. We'll greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Good, fantastic. That's what I like here. It's an action.
Yes.
There's every time we have webinar, there's an action gonna be taken, and I'm telling you, I follow it to the end because otherwise there's no AWT. We don't see impact,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm so happy. I can see a lot of people really complimenting a lot of discussions going on here. Again, what I think that we only work at our advantage when we have our own organization, transport and deliver planes and trucks and a suitable system. I'm telling you, this is the only way. You diasporans, if you don't jump on that boat right now, to be too late. And I can see already a lot of organizations coming out from the West and ready to trap on to eat. If you don't jump on that boat, it's very difficult. And that's why I'm happy that Africa Women in Trade started at ASACO, Credit and Service Cooperative, although we are limited with each country, but there is so many opportunity, and I can see diaspora are in the middle of this, bringing solution and need to know where are the problems, because all of us come from only one country, but when we talk about AfCFTA, we talk about the whole continent. That's why everybody was asking, why did I not go host an expo in Kenya? I said that it doesn't make sense. I need to go to another country so that I see how I know my country anyway. You need to go to another country, and I'm telling you, it's I'm not gonna be held accountable. It's actually the Bible. They say the prophet is not recognized in their own country, their whole home. So guys, you jump on the other side, is so beautiful, and everybody is ready to work with you, especially the diaspora. You have the mindset already. You know where the problems are. You hear the solution because they are in your community development. I also have a lady here, Rachel, who is a community developer who has done a lot selling the products here. Today I'm in Berlin. I'm going right now to export to sell some of the products from Africa. Macadamia oil from Delvi. She's a distributor in Germany. And we'll be working with her to also see how we can bring value-added products. We are very, very, very active because, and I can tell you, Beatrice, because you deal with the government. It's very sad when you come here, when you see a big expo like that one, which one of the biggest in Berlin. And you don't even see African stands. And most of the people who are representing us, I'm sorry to say, but there are other NGO companies that come to Africa, and now they bring the people. This has to stop. It's so devastating. We need to be there. We see there are Ministry of Agriculture bringing products. There are people in there from their countries. They're talking about the biggest one I've seen there is Morocco. Unbelievable, brilliant, guys. If you haven't seen that, I'll be doing a video today to show you on WhatsApp. So there's so much trade going on, and we need to learn. Trade is it's an advance. That's something, as I also noticed, people need to understand what is trade, because trade is not a business. I'm not telling you to sell one tea bag. I want you to sell tons, and the negotiation there is completely different than selling one product.
Absolutely.
So that's something that we also know is the AfCFTA needs to talk to the women to really break it down, to understand what is trade and where they can start with cross borders. Cross borders is the best place to test the markets, right? Before even you go somewhere else, because the regulations in the continent is not that much as you come in Europe. And as you can hear, tariffs are going to be lowered and all that. So it's going to be very big. So thank you so much, Beatrice, for being here. And as I promised you, women are here. This is recorded. We will be listening over and over again. And if they have any question, please add on your on the chat. And it's Bunny. I'm going to hand over to her so that she's unaware, because sometimes when you're up there, sometimes the top people need to link up with the bottom up. Yeah, we have this thing in Kenya, bottom up. It's an area I love to work with the women on the ground, but passing the information to the top levels. That is the aim of AWT, and AWT is actually in the service industry. We are enablers of trade and creating opportunities for traders to come and trade, like through events and expo, sharing information. So we are already in the trade service, and that's why I'm so closely working with Beatrice, because I want to know how is the women networks, and I'm not the only one. I'm standing for so many networks out there that are doing the work. They need to understand which level they play and which, because there is quite a lot in the service industry. And diaspora, please, you have heard. Go back to that presentation and look for an opportunity to start a business. Because I think the if they have done their job, but quite a lot of things you can already start as a private sector, because you cannot do the work itself. The private sector, they wants to do the job, right?
Exactly.
And the protocol have to be adjusted as the work is going on. So it's quite a beautiful area, and I love the AfCFTA. So that, do you have any parting word before I bring Beatrice, and stay along, because you need to hear about what Beatrice, what Funke does as well in her products.
No, I would just say that the one thing that I do want to signal to your membership is find out if your country has an AfCFTA national strategy. If they do, then find out, what it says on services. Some national strategies didn't even include services. They just did goods, basically. or they focused very much on what already was there, and then just what could be the added value from the AfCFTA's perspective. So find out about that, and then use it, and then use your chambers of commerce, use AWT to kind of get information about, you know, what is going on. Find out about the guided trade initiative. See, you know, which we will begin to kind of put information out about the guided trade initiative as soon as our committee gets going, so that in the same way as there's information out there about what's happening on guided trade in goods, there will be other information on guided trade and services. At the same time, we're hoping to be doing work on you know, the cargo, connecting, you know, the cargo with commodities, and, you know, trying to get the goods across, working on, you know, tourism, creative industries. So there's a lot happening. We're doing the policy side, but we're also kind of nudging the governments to do work on their action side, on their commitments and everything. And those countries that don't have commitments, please remind them they need to have their commitments in.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And how to access the AfCFTA? I'll just go to au-afcfta.org. I'm going to share here. Is that's the right one? I was making sure that I have the right one for you, so that you can also be able to go and learn more what is there for the continent. What can you do? What is going on? Or be active. And especially the diaspora, please use that platform to share information with your people back at home. Information seems to be a very, very a big need in the continent. They don't know about AfCFT. You have this idea. Take it them, tell them this is what's happening, so that they don't get stuck with a lot of things that or misguided information. You know how it is in the continent. Some people are still using the old style, and probably there are easier way of doing trade than before. So please make sure that you can do that. I think, yes, I was typing as I was talking, but I think I did it. So au-afcfta.org. So thank you so much, Beatrice, for being here. And I'm looking forward for any time you think there's an urgent information you need to share, just shout out to me. It doesn't have to be every January. Anyway, I'll hunt you anyway every January. If I don't hear from you. But I'm very happy for you to have you here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'll stay on and listen to Dr. Funke. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, now we're going to where the business is, because I love to see women doing great work in businesses. And every time we have a webinar, I want somebody to present, tell us what they're doing, and how we can support and who can create market access, because it's all about market access. When you see Joy this year, it's all about market access. I want my members to receive markets. I have been with Funke, I don't know how long have we been doing this now?
Since
the beginning.
2021 March, actually, or February.
I was so excited when I got to know your packaging is the one that blew me. I was like, what are these products still staying with you? This should be in the market, right? And until today is amazing when you see products of our members that have been supported. Of course, we have to recognize the organizations and other capacity building that is happening on the ground. But the work of market access is actually private sectors, which is the service industries again, to help in this area. And now everything is going digital. As you heard, digital is that space that we need to embrace. And that's how we connected with Funke. Without digital, I don't think I could have met Funke. It would have taken longer to get to know her product. And as we speak right now, just there after Cape Town, we met in person. Actually, we met in person here in Europe as well, because you in Geneva as well, you do bring your product. And I'm happy your product now in UK, France, US, you mentioned, and now going to Italy, as we went to the other day together to an event in Italy, just after South Africa, because it's all about market access. You are a case study to see the fact what will happen. So anyway, I'll hand over the stage to you. Let the people know about your product, because your product is amazing. And please introduce yourself as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joy. I'm very, very grateful. for this opportunity to be able to, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity again to be able to, first of all, listen to this very informative information from Beatrice, and also to learn more. Is a knowledge sharing session and is good. Now, my name is Funke Bolujoko, and I'm currently the managing director of Rochim, which is Roche Investment and Manufacturing Limited. We are based in Nigeria, in Mowe, in Ogun State, which is very, very adjacent to Lagos. It's actually an extension of Lagos, only with state demarcation is in another state. But we have an office in Lagos, but our factory site is at Mowe in Ogun State. And maybe a little bit about, I'm a public health advisor, like I mentioned earlier on. I had the opportunity and the privilege. I've been in practice now for really over 35 years, and I had the privilege of working with the World Health Organization out of this 35 years for 22 years. So it's really quite exciting for me to maybe stop being a technocrat and actually go into the field to really practice what I've written so many policy papers about. And that's really about Rochim. Rochim, we proceed to be Rochim, which is Roche Investment and Manufacturing Limited. Is actually a research-based, multi-award winning SME, starting as a family business. And we are registered we have corporate registration in Nigeria. And we were registered in 2006. Like I said, it's a family business, started as family business. But we started our operation in 2008, so to say, with just one SKU. Very simple, but one thing we have done is to maintain the quality, of what we started with. And but all our brands, currently, we have almost about 22 SKUs, but we've developed 10 for our export market, but all our SKUs have this brand name, Master T. And that's really what our mantra is. Think health, think Master T, because it is really health promotion that drives us. So that's why our mantra, wherever you see Master T, you see think health, think Master T. And we have our blends that are produced. We use 5 major raw materials primarily, and that is moringa, hibiscus, ginger, turmeric, and also the black tea that we all know. And why did we choose this? Because of their functional herbs with a lot of health benefits, as we would say much later on. And basically, thank you, Joy, for managing this for us. Basically, these are the 10 SKUs we are currently promoting as our export packs. We didn't start like this because we started quite simple, and we've done quite a lot of product adaptation, particularly when it comes to packaging. And these are part of the things that they are cost items that needs to be factored into going global anywhere. So we from what we are seeing on the screen, we have our moringa base, which is primarily the moringa herbal tea. We have the moringa plus ginger. We also have moringa ginger turmeric, which are quite good. Then we have our hibiscus base, which is primarily hibiscus plus moringa, and hibiscus plus ginger. We have the black tea, and also we have the ginger base, the pure ginger. We have ginger plus turmeric, and also we have ginger plus moringa. So that's basically, next slide, please. Now, this brings us to our sales presenter. Like I said, we did not start like this. I mean, most of these things now came into being from the last 2 years. Like we have our sales presenter, and this just tells us the unique blend, the 10 unique blends that we are promoting for our export market. It gives us the characteristics of these 10 unique blends that we have. It talks about the level of caffeine. Most of our blends are caffeine free. 9 of them are caffeine free. Only one of our brands has very low caffeine, which is our black tea. And this is quite unique. It is unique in the sense that a lot of people pay premium price for decaffeinated tea. But when you talk about decaffeination, you can never have a decaffeinated product without chemical process. And we don't want that, because our strength is promoting 100% natural substances. All our blends are 100% natural, without preservatives, without colors, without fillers, without flavors. What do I mean by fillers? When you go to the supermarket and you buy some teas, you taste it, or you look at your mug, you can see some film around it. Those are fillers, But for people that have tested our product, one unique statement I've heard from virtually every single person that has tasted our product is the clean taste. Our product has very, very clean taste. It doesn't leave anything behind on your palate, and it is because it is 100% natural. No fillers, no colors, no additives. 100% natural. So what you are getting from us is what you pay for is what you get. So this is our sales presenter that talks about, is our catalog. It talks about whoever it is that wants to pick our product. This we have both electronically as well as the hard copies. So why would you really want to work with us? One of the key things I initially forgot was that we are blessed to have an R&D enthusiast chemical engineer that is actually more or less the technical brain behind most of our development. So he is hinged on innovation. So he does it. That is one of his major strengths. So you want to work with us because we understand the pain points of whoever is buying our product, either as a retailer, a wholesaler, whatever, that you want product that you can vouch for, that you can stand behind, and that is not only creating market access for you, but also promoting or enhancing market penetration. Because when people taste your product, they come back because they want it, they want more and more of it. So that drives us. And also we look at the bit of margin. You saw what I was presenting to Madam Beatrice earlier on, that we are always thinking, what sort of margin will our buyers have? It is a primary concern to us, So we're looking very critically at that. We are hooked on high quality product and consistency in the product that you have. Also, we want to be the supplier of choice, that we are people you come out to want to trade with. In order to do this, it doesn't really come cheaply, because next slide, please, Joy. Yeah, to get this done, you have to be sure you have the necessary certifications. And we've actually got 8 of them, apart from registering. So we are on the map. We are registered. We also have, each of our products have NAFDAC certification. And the NAFDAC registration process for some of us that may have come across this is a very rigorous process, extremely rigorous process. But we start with that, we got it. Every product of ours has NAFDAC registration and certificate. Then we also have the US FDA certification as well and registration. We have the HACCP now talking about quality certifications, because we want to stand side by side with the Twinings of this world, with the Liptons of this world, by the grace of God. So we've got to have the global certifications that will make us to do this. In addition to having HACCP, we have the ISO 22000 2018 version, actually, which is the latest version. We have the NEPC, which is the certification that qualifies us to be an exporter, to export our goods, either within our region, within Africa, which is what we are excitedly looking forward towards, or to the global market. And what we are currently doing, and thanks very much to AWT, that actually gave us the push to do this. And I would say gave us the push because it's something we knew it's going to be important, but because of the rigor, because of whatever, we have been hesitating a bit on it, and that is the sustainability certification, which is now in progress. And thanks to Joy for your doggedness in getting us to doing this. We've recently embarked on this, and Joy had been quite instrumental, and I'm sure he is also promoting this amongst all the AWT members. So we've embarked on that. We've just started. I didn't list it here because we don't have the certification yet. We are just starting the audit process now. But then that now tells us we have the traceability because we work with outgrowers so that we know what exactly, and the outgrowers we are working with, the outgrowers that already have the gap. That is the Global Agricultural Practice Certification. So we know what goes on into the processes they are doing, just to be sure of the premium quality of whatever we bring to our consumers. And we put in all these certifications. They are not cheap. So these are part of the things that countries will need to support SMEs with. And currently, next slide, please, Joy, briefly. Currently, within the country, we've listed some of our key clients, like by the grace of God, we supply all the 25 outlets of ShopRite in Nigeria, and we are looking forward to actually going to other ShopRites outside the shores of Nigeria. We have some online marketplaces like the Konga, like the Jumia. We are on them. We are in Spa. Spa is also beyond Nigeria. We are in Foodco. Anybody coming from Nigeria will be quite conversant with what I've listed here. But we have Sheraton, but Sheraton is also a member of the Marriott group of hotels. So we are into the 5-star hotels. Why were we able to get into the 5-star hotels? These are part of the cost that comes into your development. Like our individual products are like this. They are individually sacheted so that they can be put in hotel rooms for clients, and they can, thank you. Like I'm just showing our tea bags are individually sacheted. First, to retain the flavor, to retain the nutrients, the good things inside there. But much more to the aesthetic value of this is that this can stand beside any twining tea, and they can be put in hotels, they can be put in offices. So this we had to do at a very high cost, but this was actually Sheraton, just as Joy had kindly given us a quiet push into sustainability certification. We wanted to supply Sheraton. They were quite happy with the quality of the product, but they said, oh, sorry, we cannot go over all your blends unless they are all together pouched like this. Initially, we had just just two of our blends were individual. And to do this, to now have all our blends, thank you, to now have all our blends done this way, it was a lot of investment, but which we had to do. So we have some key clients within Nigeria. And talking about key clients in Nigeria, we have, next slide, please, John. We have also ventured abroad, and when Beatrice was making her presentation, one of the things she requested AWT to promote is actually the various trade shows. And I must tell you that we actually got into Europe not through not because we were smart. No, 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 no. We were fortunate to have been funded by, to have been partly supported. They pay part of the cost. The She Trade program, and we were in Cologne, and this was how we met some of the clients that came from the UK, and they became partners with us. I call them partners, and this is how we want to deal with anybody who is taking our product. We don't see you as buyers. We want partnership on equal footing. And that is what we have been able to attain coming into Europe. And we are already, by the grace of God, into retail marketing. We are also into food service through our various partners in the hotels, in the pharmacy. You know, some of the pharmacies, just as you saw, even in Nigeria, like the Health Plus, which is like the Boots of Nigeria. For many of you that know Boots in the UK, Health Plus is like the Boots of Nigeria. They are community pharmacies. They actually list our products. So we are also into some pharmacies in Europe. We are also like some airlines, some wholesalers primarily. So, and this is, next slide, please, John. This is just showing some of our products in some of the shops, you know, that we are currently into World Foods. For people that know World Foods, they actually bought over the British Home Stores, so you could see how big they were, you know. And we through our partners, we've been able to get into such places. Next slide, please. I think, in this next slide, I just want to point to something. I don't know if, okay, maybe you can see my cursor here. This is our FSDU, a display unit that our partners in Europe said, okay, for us to actually be noticed in these various shops, you've got to develop this, you know, that sort of thing. And we had to get this developed so that you get into any big shop, you can see our products all packed together in one spot. And for all the big stores where they are able to get in, apart from, you know, in Nigeria, most of our products are put on the shelves, but in Europe, you see this. And that we have had to be doing. And all these things, actually, they cost money. Next slide, please. So now we've talked about the externalities of our product. What are like I said, we have been promoting 10 specific blends in our export market. The first one is the Moringa ginger. Many of us, Moringa is God's gift to nature, you know, because of the various health benefits, various vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, you know, that pick up all those troubleshooting elements or cells in the body, so they prevent cancers, you know, that sort of thing. So we've been able to get Moringa plus ginger, and like I earlier said, all our SKUs, they do not have any preservatives whatsoever. They are 100% pure, you know, and they don't have flavors. What you are getting from us are as if you are plucking them from your farm. But what we have introduced into this is the ease. So you don't have to start cutting ginger every morning or hibiscus. You can easily pick our tea bags and you put it in your hot water, allow it to infuse for some minutes, and you can take it either hot or cold. Having this confidence that what you are getting from the master tea pack is exactly what you will get, you know, from is exactly what you will get if you are doing it naturally or right from the farm. And we have the Moringa ginger turmeric, we have the hibiscus ginger, which is what I said earlier in one of our presentations, that if I have the privilege of renaming our packages, I will actually put a woman face on this, because this is my best brand. Why is it my best brand? You know, thank you, Joy. Our hibiscus ginger. You take it, you know, a lot of people, particularly ladies, they want to be slim, figure 8. Even at age 60, we still feel we want to be sweet 16. So we are always looking for slimming tea. But we refuse to go along that route, because if you notice, with many of the slimming teas we get on the market, they tell you to take them in the evening so that you are quite close to the bathroom, and what you are getting out most of the time are actually fluids within your system, which one has to be quite careful about. So it was a policy decision we had to take as a company, that we don't want to go that route, but we want to get some natural substances that will also help you. It's like our hibiscus plus ginger. It prevents you from being blown up, that sort of thing. It aids digestion. So you eat, you use it, you drink it, and you just feel light. It helps you, in addition to the advantages of the hibiscus, which is in it, the role that hibiscus play in mood regulation, which is quite common with we women. And that's why I said this I will call the, thank you, you can go on that. This I will call the women's tea. We've also taken part in some exhibitions, both in Nigeria and outside. Actually, the first one, which shows the Director General of the WTO, this was actually an exhibition in Nigeria, when she and then the CEO of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council was behind her. And you could see, and you might have been wondering, but these packages look different from what she had just shown us. What I've just shown you were our export packs. These are the packs we have within Nigeria. The products are the same, but they are different. The packaging is different. And the next one was in Egypt, which was the first intra-Africa trade exhibition in Cairo. Now, our last slide, because our time is, I said, how do we actually actualize export success by African MSMEs? And I've said the role of AfCFTA, and Madam Beatrice, this is really, really where you will need to help us, because in all honesty, we have our strength points, and AfCFTA is actually one of the strength points now we have as MSMEs in Africa that want to produce goods for Africans, because what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. We shouldn't just be looking at Europe, wherever. We have our own people too. They are entitled to health enhancing and value added product. So the introduction of the AfCFTA in January 2021 is a very, very strong point for us. One other thing is that we have increasing availability of African SMEs, that they now believe in value addition. Yes, Africa has been noted for raw materials trading before. We should go a step further if we are ever going to industrialize, if we are ever going to have balanced trade, within us. Also, we have increasing level of capacity strengthening and desire to go global by African MSMEs. We are very grateful for agencies like AWT that does capacity training, AWT that does capacity training, trade, whatever. We are receiving a lot of this, but we would appreciate it if we can go a step further. These are our strength points and many more. But what are the challenges? I said it is very important to actually help, and this is where I'm pleading with AfCFTA to please help in dismantling some of the structural barriers to African value-added goods going global. What do I mean by this? Realistic government readiness to support industrialization. In Europe, when you want to industrialize, you are actually supported, practically supported to produce something. But it's not like that. We don't want to start talking about the cost of funds in Nigeria. To get a single digit loan It's like an elephant going through the eyes of the needle. So the cost of funds is so exorbitant. We've talked quite a lot about logistics. We talked about the cost of logistics. I didn't talk about the pain of logistics because that was quite there. I think that was what even Joy was referring to earlier on. Apart from that, the multiplicity of taxes for these bourgeoisie SMEs, they are there. And also the complicated export process. It is very, very complicated. I mean, also the issue of logistics is there. So we need to help your agency. I know you say you are the Secretariat, but you have the ears of the member states, to intentionally move towards dismantling some of these structural barriers. And most of these structural barriers are actually hinged or under held up by governments and government agencies, which
We had lost you. Are you back? Have we lost you, Madam Funke? Okay. I think we have issues there. And let me know whether you can hear us on the other side. Beatrice, can you hear us? Okay. Yes, you can hear us, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Then we lost Madam Funke.
So we just, okay. But it's all been very, very interesting. I would love to get her to come and give a presentation. I'll have to find a suitable audience, a suitable time when we can invite her over. It's been amazing.
I'm
yes,
back.
You're
now.
back. You're back now.
Thank you very much.
I know you are almost finishing. It's
tackling some cultural barriers, which is very, very important because most people think that they can charge you anything, because in Europe or outside Africa shows that people have no problem with money, so they can pay any amount. But it doesn't work that way, because our product will sit on the same shelf as products from other countries. So we need to be conversant, we need to be aware of the cost of our product that we get to other people. And there has to be an intentional promotion of price competitiveness amongst the goods that are being produced by African SMEs. And also, one of the key challenges we SMEs have, and which is what you can help us with, is limited sustainable partnerships, in our destination market. This is extremely important. We are talking about market access. We can never have a sustainable market access unless we have partnerships that are sustainable, even in these various countries. We are ready for trade, and I'm glad there are so many potential partners listening to us today. Our product, by the grace of God, stands at par with any global product, that we have seen. It has taken a lot of process for us to get there, but we know that partnering with you would help quite a lot in getting this done. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow. That was quite. I love I know why, Madam Funke, I like you, because we can learn so much with your experience, right? You're a great mentor also for new people who are going into the manufacturing industry. The way I tell my members who are here and you're listening, you should be learning a lot from the way Funke is marketing her product. She loves her product, right? If you don't know Master T by this, I don't know how much you can expect. She is passionate, and that's how entrepreneurs are very passionate about their product. They want to sell it to you and explain to you the way. But women, we have a long way. We are still very shy, but we need to get that in. And I wanted to, I have added Madam Beatrice as well here, so that she had mentioned very important notes when you are away. And do you want to share with that with her?
I am just blown away by your presentation, Dr. Funke. Thank you so much. I am so glad to know that your product is out there and on the market. You have done an amazing job of making sure there's quality, the packaging is perfect. That I even like the fact that you mentioned how you actually invested in having your own stand and everything in order to meet the requirements of a particular market. Just excellent. You've met and exceeded the expectations of your client and customer base, and you are an inspiration. You're a real inspiration, and I'm so happy to know you. And I'm thinking now, the little wheels are turning to know now, when can I plug you into some of our events and trying to kind of get you out there, mixing and mingling with some of the government officials, so that you can tell your story and you can showcase your products, and also just inform them about your challenges, so that they can know. I mean, you need to be continental. You need to be continental as well as global. This is amazing. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
This
very
is just
much.
excellent. I can't wait to taste your tea.
Oh, I'm telling you, I have it already
Thank you.
long time ago.
Do you have an
Beautiful.
outlet in Ghana? Because this is where
Okay.
I am.
Like Madam Joy mentioned, Joy and I, we were in Rome in November, and
Yes.
I actually met a gentleman from the investment promotion, but then I've written to him. We have not gone too far, but we definitely will need to get in touch, with people like you, because is an excellent person.
I know somebody in the Ghana Export Promotion Agency. I know people there. So I will try to make sure and if they can get me the counterpart of like the Importers Association or somebody who's in the Importers Association, I will try to make sure, your tea needs to be in the supermarket.
It should be
and there's
in
a
the
ShopRite.
supermarket.
There's a ShopRite in Accra.
Exactly.
So your products need to be in the Ghana ShopRite.
So I had to know about it, Beatrice, in Germany to bring it back to Ghana, right?
Yes. Can you imagine?
That's the process.
Can you imagine?
We have a long way to go. I'll bring all of them, because I can see some of them already in the chat queuing.
Absolutely.
I'm next, because we have beautiful products in the continent. And Funke has tried getting to the South African market as well.
Yes.
And as you said, cross-border is the first place to start. Ghana should have had your product a long time. You also have so many countries, and I'm already, as you can see, in ShopRite everywhere in Nigeria. Nigeria market already can exhaust it. And what I like about the healthy part of you're saying, we should not only thinking about Europe, also in Africa, because I think that most people who are buying healthy stuff, to be honest, is in Africa more than Europe, because the medicine and everything is not available. So you use the products, natural product, which is actually the positive way of dealing with health. Your tea, I have it here. I drink it. The hibiscus one, since I know it's for women and their moods and all that. I love it. And it's very strong. And you got a certificate. You didn't even tell them you got.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about our awards. About the
award.
1 minute. By the grace of God, in October 2022, I don't know how many of us know about the Great Taste Award. This is an independent award system where they pick almost 40,000 units, SKUs that are being sold in the Europe market, in the UK market, is UK. And by the grace of God, our hibiscus tea actually got a star from the Great Taste Award. We got that. And also the latest, and our latest award was obtained in South Africa, in Cape Town, through the AWT. And we got the gold award, for the global trader of year 2022. by
Oh
God's
yes,
grace.
I wish we could even give you more and more. The whole idea of the award? It's a grease. You always say that in Nigeria, grease to your elbow. Is that the way you say
More grace to
it?
your elbows, yeah.
I'm picking up a
Yes,
lot of words to
yes.
give you the energy to keep doing what you're doing, and also being an icon from others. And it's amazing the work I can see here. Ruth is also see here as well. I'm sharing
Okay.
with Dia. She's also in the manufacturing. She'll be here as well
Yes.
one of the days to get to know her product. Ruth, she's also in South Africa. She's in manufacturing industry as well of menstruation cups.
Mm,
The only woman organization having its own company
mm,
instead of getting them from China. Very
yeah.
interesting product that even
Mm,
Africa needs it in the social
mm,
for the girl child.
mm.
She'll be here one of these days sharing that, and they share quite a lot when both of them are here. I don't think you're gonna be right now. AfCFTA, they put they give you the facts, put them in the box, and the way it is. Hers, we have been trying to get her product in because there's this part anyway, you'll all agree whenever you have to take new products in a new market in as well as in Europe. The program with Europe is only one big EU and
Mm,
Africa, but in Africa you have to go each and every regulator to
mm,
approve it in each country before it's accepted for you to sell,
mm,
and she's in that process now. I think we did Zambia, and she'll give her story as well. It's a very beautiful story as well, and I'm happy to do that. And I can see here messages for you, Funke. What a product! Keep up the good work. I'm fan of those as slimming healthy tea product. Already is from France. Is your product distributed in France? There you go. And actually, she actually said something else before that.
mm,
She is let me put this up because it's quite interesting. On the other hand, I can also assist in putting input VAT recovery in France and EU. That is VAT paid on business oriented expenses or
okay.
local purchase of good. You understand that better,
Yeah.
what she means,
Yes,
because you have
yes,
been in trading in Europe as well. So
yes.
she's happy. I'll connect with her. She's in France, very dynamic lady doing amazing work. And I also see here someone met you already in Frankfurt, I think when you are in Anuga, Cologne.
Ah, okay.
This is
Yes.
Madame Rachel from Shape from Norway, but she's also connected in Germany a lot.
That's true.
And
Mm,
I sample some products from you. You see, you
mm.
have a huge network. Reach
That's
out to her, get her product in Norway. Rachel, that's your job now. We have France, we have Norway. Before you leave here, it's about pitching and market access, guys.
mm,
I see we're doing very well. US, you're already there. So your work is she's looking for distributors. That's her main thing from Madame Funke to be selling her product. So her main aim is looking for wholesaler distributors. And I'm sure you know where, and we want the product straight in the shelves. I think like I'm doing these those 1, 2, 3, go. I'm doing
mm,
auctions here.
yeah,
I love this. I love this. So it's so nice to have you, Madam Funke. Yeah, the chats are all some of them on YouTube, some of them are on. You can follow them because they are actually on Facebook as well. And if you don't know any, I know most of the people apparently here. There's a lady, Victoria, also says here, inspiring Dr. Funke, and what else are we getting? Beautiful ladies, thank you. And
thank you.
yes, quite amazing. We have a big follow up here. And I say we are not here to build quantity, we're here to build quality conversation with women. And I think the right people have been here and they have really shared the most important information we have. And AfCFTA, you got the message now. It's up to you. But any last word you want to say, Dr. Funke, before we give an overview of some of the things that we have achieved so far? We're only January and we seem to be doing quite good actually for just January. I hope we will keep up the same pace all the way to the new year. Before the end year, we have a lot of products in the market. My aim is to have more products in the continent in Africa than in Europe, but I'm
Mm,
aware the low-hanging fruits
mm,
in Europe because of the
mm,
logistics and payment. So Beatrice and your team
mm, mm,
and the private sector, you need to hurry up.
mm,
We
mm.
need your
Indeed,
services
indeed. We're running as fast as we can.
so that we can start. Although we know some that are existing, like I know Madam Fuke, you saw her, she was also with the logistic that is doing very well in Africa, the Jumia, and Africa Made for African. Of course, they're working with a lot of partners in there. There's that topic we'll be bringing up in the future. So let me leave you, Dr. Funke, to leave us with the last one as I give up the last update. And thank you, Madam Beatrice. Always a pleasure to have you here. But keep saying so that you hear more. Don't go away.
No, not at all. I'm here.
Thank you very, very much. And I want to actually also say thank you to all our colleagues that have been listening. The journey is not too smooth, but it is attainable. And really, this is the encouragement I want to give to all our women colleagues. I know Ruth knows exactly what I'm talking about. There are a lot of challenges on the way, but we can make it. And just to keep at it until our objectives are achieved. And I'm sure it will. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Get yourself a cup of water. You have been doing well, and thank you for being here. And anybody want to reach Madam Funke, reach out to me anytime. And we have a contact. She's a mover, as you can see. Dynamic woman. I admire so much, and the youth can also learn quite a lot, and young entrepreneurs going into these sectors, and more organizations are going to be coming here. Thank you so much. Stay with us as well. Don't go away as we see what is have been happening. Probably you don't know. So Africa Women in Trade, just to give you a big overview, that we have been quite into very active in some things that have been happening. We have formed some great partnership. I hope you can still my web. You can still see my screen. We have formed different partnerships. We are now working with ITC in Ecom Connect. You heard about digitalization, and I'm happy to say that a lot of our country representatives have been selected to be brand ambassadors. And you can see there we have in youth representative, Chanel. She's also there. She also has her own product. She'll come one day. She actually was here last time. If you watch the last December closer of what AW and AWT have done, she showcased her products. And we also have Angola as well. That's Madam Linda. And we also have as well in Ghana. We call her Mushroom Queen. She's doing great work with mushrooms. It's huge. I think you know her, Beatrice, if I'm not wrong. She's quite famous in that area, in the mushroom training, trade tours. If you want to go see her company, she's doing a lot of it. She's been given the brand ambassador for e-commerce. So I would like to encourage all of you. You have seen your website there to register there. Why? E-commerce Connect. Ecom Connect was platform. They were supposed to be here, but I couldn't get somebody coming here. But we will invite them on another day and to talk about what you can do. There's a lot of trainings there for how to get to the digital. There are some trainings, simple things like how to put your photos, products, the digital space, nice photo, or even creating your website, or e-commerce solutions as PAPS is getting itself organized, and you can put the payment system through your e-commerce, because e-commerce is about showing up your product, being able to order it, to deliver it, transport, and payments. So it's a full package, but they are there to help you with the system that already existing or which one you can use. We have some few things that are still working in terms of credit card. I think that's the one that seems to be working. And you can see how you can, well, there are a lot of products. We also have a group in there. We keep information of which topics, which discussion we think you should be following. Follow it up. That's the econnect.org, as you can see down there. The two of, please take a note of that and follow that up. And then we are again in partnership. We're also gonna come here together, and we're gonna explain more about this partnership. The Africa Business Council, it's based in the UK, and I've been a part of the advisory board appointment, but we also have a project that is coming up for the EU, how we can present Africa here in EU. There's a webinar coming up, I think it's in March. I'll give you more information on that. So that's a new way of moving business forward, and also creating market access. Don't forget, my head just ring market access. So it's all about making sure at the end of the day, we have your products on the right places at the right time, and having those discussions that make it easier for market access to you. And thank you, Madam Funke. She was here today. Follow up her work. She shared her master thesis, our case study. We are trying very much to make sure her products really, we see it in more countries in the continent as well. So yeah, we have a big team. The team is ever growing. As you can see, we have also exchange. Some people take contract for only 1 year. We also have other people coming in. If your country is not in here, and especially the 8 countries that were chosen for pilot, we'll be working very closely. We have Kenya, Nigeria here, Cameroon, Zambia, Rwanda. We also have Namibia, and we have South Africa represent for the youth. We're also including the diaspora as well. That is the UK, US, and Angola is also in here. And as I mentioned earlier, Ghana, and it seems in South Africa too. And what I wanted to mention here is that if you feel like you would like to represent your country, reach out to me. One country that is not yet here is Zimbabwe, Zim. Yeah, these ladies are coming also as well. We're just closing up our agreement, and we're happy to have you anytime. So this is just a few things that are going to be happening in the future, and more coming. So every month, next month, we are coming as well. It's all about market access. I'm going to give you a hint next month. It's about somebody here in Europe who's been bringing products here from in terms of the agribusiness, that is a lot of vegetables and fruits, and she'll be through her experience, she's doing trainings for market access, and she has noticed that most of you entrepreneur, there's a lot to be done before we bring your products here, and we all know about that. And she's come up with a program that she wants to introduce to you as well, because I think we cannot ignore capacity building in market access, especially Europe. This time is Europe, because each country has its own regulations and certification. As you had from Funke, the certification she needs, they are actually necessity to have your products especially when you're talking about the Europe countries. Also in Africa, there's also other certifications as well that are coming, that are needed. So we'll be looking case by case according to which country also in the continent, what are they required to do. And that's a guided trade that Beatrice talked about. So she will be following up with her. There's a guided trade training coming up as well, and she will be giving us this information as soon as we get it. We'll share with you so that you can start registering yourself to have this discussion, especially like Funke should start being in that list like yesterday, because you need to understand how to bring your tea to different countries, and they'll help you to move into that direction. As you mentioned, in Europe, they're also assistant, and that's the AfCFTA that is doing that. So I want to thank you, everyone who made to come here, and I can see you're still listening to us, and I'm very excited you have been engaged. Thank you as well. We'll be using this tool as much as possible. We stopped using Zoom. As you look at the way Connect is happening, there is a lot of power cuts. There's a lot of internet connection issues. So people were not able to join Zoom. That's why we are using live StreamYard now, which is going to go live directly to YouTube. We can know YouTube there. Most of you have access to, and it's recorded, and you can always listen to it. Actually, we even have it on our website, so you can also watch it on our website, www.africawomenintrade.com. This is somewhere you can always check all our webinars. We also have a calendar there, so you know in advance when we are going to have our presentation and the date, so that you can have. And we'll also be sharing what other events are happening. As you heard in March, there will be Africa Business Summit. No, I forgot the name again. Beatrice will help me in that, because I don't want to say it wrong. Africa Business.
There's the AfCFTA Business Forum. Yes.
Forum, exactly. In March. They have already announced the path. I don't think you're able to register. I shared that information already. There's a date you can, and it's going to be in Cape Town. For those people who have been in Cape Town, there's an opportunity for you to go back there. Now you know the way. Okay, not send by post, carry it by bag luggage, yeah. And I taught you how to do trade. The trade you don't need to bring a lot of goods, right? Suitcase is enough. Although Funke said the one suitcase is costing so much, but a suitcase carry a few products, a lot of business card, a lot of like the Funke has all these flyers, print them out, make them nice looking, beautiful. That's all you need for trade, and then open your mouth and talk and by then come out with a lot of contracts. Yes, unfortunately I don't know, I'm still planning whether I'll be there or not. I'm still in the planning, but I'm hoping, I'm going to make sure that most of you business people are aware that where to go and how to be part of that exhibition. And there's so many. So my work on this other side is to go to other expo. Like right now I need to go to the expo before it's finished. and I am able to see how I can market it. So thank you so much, everyone. Madam Funke, thank you as well for coming.
Thank you.
And let's continue this conversation again on emails and chat, and as we move on. So good night, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Pleasure.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
You
And
too.
likewise. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.